Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. As time flowed gently by, Emperor Chuyu of Emperor Chu's lineage appeared to be much more low-key during the distribution of tasks among the 7 first-rank marquises. And in the blink of an eye, half a century had passed. Finally, it's my turn to have priority again. Emperor Chuyu, with the help of the first-rank Marquis command, had discovered a newly emerged Emperor-level task. Even among the first-rank marquises, Emperor-level tasks were rare, and the 7 had to choose in sequence. Guardian of the Ghostfire World. Emperor Chuyu gazed at the task, his eyes ablaze with excitement. This task might even be more valuable than the Northern Sea Beast Forest. My priority rights. With a cold smile, Emperor Chuyu did not hesitate to claim the task for himself. After being taught a lesson last time, he had kept a low profile for half a century. Now, at this crucial moment, he made his move again. As he seized the task, the other 6 first-rank marquises were also informed simultaneously. Interesting. It seems we've underestimated this Chuyu. He's quite bold. He dares to snatch it directly. He's asking for death. No hurry, Marquis Chuyuan will surely be the first to act. The other first-rank marquises each had their own thoughts. Indeed, upon realizing that Emperor Chuyu had dared to use his priority rights to claim the Emperor-level task, Marquis Chuyuan was immediately consumed by nameless rage that scorched his entire body, and even his soul. A newly advanced being of primal chaos realm, with weak strength, should just bear it. How dare he compete with me? Marquis Chuyuan was furious. In his view, only those at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm had the qualification for a fair competition. A newly advanced being from the primal chaos realm, even with the aid of unlimited godly bodies and the resources of a first-rank marquis for cultivation, still had a huge gap in strength, and was not qualified to compete with them. Emperor Chuyu. Marquis Chuyuan contacted Emperor Chuyu, transmitting his voice directly. You've got some nerve to snatch an Emperor-level task. What? Am I, a first-rank marquis, not qualified to seize an Emperor-level task? Emperor Chuyu responded indifferently. Transmitting his voice across the vast distance, he was not afraid of that madman. It seems the lesson from last time didn't work on you, Marquis Chuyuan's voice transmitted with murderous intent. I hear you, Marquis Chuyuan, are very powerful. Among the 7 first-rank marquises, you are the strongest. Even fighting many at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm without meeting an adversary. Emperor Chuyu said with interest, I am currently inside my mansion. If you have the guts, kill your way here. Marquis Chuyuan paused. Storm into the first-rank Marquis mansion. Even a guest elder's cave mansion could harness a trace of the power of Chu capital city, something that even beings who had transcended the primal chaos realm feared immensely. And a first-rank Marquis mansion could harness even more of the city's power. Even some ancient godly kings wouldn't dare to charge in recklessly. You're just going to hide in your mansion? Marquis Chuyuan said. You guessed right. I have no mandatory tasks before the protection period. So during the protection period, I will stay inside the Marquis mansion. Emperor Chuyu responded leisurely. I won't step out of the mansion. What can you do to me? Marquis Chuyuan was infuriated. I will not yield on any task, Emperor Chuyu said coldly. You and I are both first-rank marquises. Think you can suppress me? Delusional. Very well, that's just great. Marquis Chuyuan's face twisted. Emperor Chuyu immediately cut off the communication, unwilling to deal with that madman any longer. Inside his own Marquis mansion, Emperor Chuyu was completely fearless. After cutting off the transmission, Emperor Chuyu thought for a moment, then immediately contacted Luo Feng, guest official Luo He. I have some conflicts with the other first-rank marquises. It's best if your disciples don't go outside for the time being. Oh? Luo Feng, who was in seclusion, received the message. Don't worry, I will instruct them. Luo Feng had entrusted Morosa, Moyu Qingyang, and primordial ancestor with instructions. Marquis Chu Yuan, driven to fury, caused thunder to flicker, as he instantly tore apart the pavilion building he was in, and even 2 maids outside the pavilion were caught in the aftermath. The maids were turned to ash in an instant amidst their terror and despair. Damn it, Marquis Chu Yuan's eyes were completely filled with lightning. Just then, a figure appeared high in the sky, none other than Marquis Chu Ji. Chu Yuan. Marquis Chu Ji rebuked, striking at the soul, restoring some clarity to Marquis Chu Yuan's eyes, who then looked up to see Marquis Chu Ji descending. Big brother, Marquis Chu Yuan gritted his teeth. This Emperor Chu Yu did it on purpose. He is deliberately provoking me. Yes, he is deliberately provoking you, making you go mad again, so that you break the laws set down by our primordial ancestor. Then, he can imprison you in the ghost fire world for 10,000 years, Marquis Chu Ji scolded. Marquis Chu Yuan paused, looking at the only brother he trusted. You've come this far, become a first-rank Marquis, after enduring many hardships, Marquis Chu Ji said. You have exceptional talent, and you even have hope to transcend the primal chaos realm. At this time, don't fall for the other scheme. If you go mad and act recklessly, it will only amuse Emperor Chu Yu. Marquis Chu Yuan nodded. In all matters, pay attention to the laws. As long as you don't break the prohibitions, that's all that matters. Marquis Chu Ji was also helpless. This brother of his still had some sense left, but as he cultivated the primordial secret method inheritance, his temperament became increasingly uncontrollable. Sir, the novelfire.ne*t website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Many of the Thunder Ancient Country's imperial clan members have uncontrollable tempers, bursting out at times to confront even godly kings. My brother has certainly inherited some of the traits of the Thunder Ancient Country's imperial clan, Marquis Chu Ji thought to himself. Having inherited the bloodlines of 2 great imperial clans, and after becoming a being of primal chaos realm, primordial ancestor personally guided Marquis Chu Yuan in his cultivation, causing his strength to soar. Summon a few guest elders to come over, we'll discuss and find a solution, Marquis Chu Ji said. All right, Marquis Chu Yuan nodded, reining in his temperament. A moment passed. Marquis Chu Ji, Marquis Chu Yuan, and the 3 guest elders gathered. These 5 pinnacle of primal chaos realm existences discussed the matter, which was also a way for Marquis Chu Yuan to vent his anger. Given Marquis Chu Yuan's temper, failing to vent his anger would only make him grow more irate. Emperor Chu Yu said that during the protection period, he would stay within the Marquis mansion, and not take half a step outside, said Marquis Chu Yuan, his ugly face full of thick black hair bristling with fury. I really wish I could smash him into a pulp. Fine, if he won't step out. I refuse to believe his wife and children won't. To act against the close relatives of a first-rank Marquis is equivalent to taking action against the Marquis himself, added Marquis Chu Ji from the side. I'm not going to kill them, just rough them up a bit, Marquis Chu Yuan, his body emitting black qi, insisted. As long as they don't die, it's merely a minor punishment. Taking action against relatives is crossing the line, Marquis Chu Ji shook his head. This isn't allowed, that isn't allowed, then what can we do? Marquis Chu Yuan said angrily. The man in blue robes on the side chuckled. Marquis Chu Yuan needn't hurry. The reason Emperor Chu Yu is unyielding is because he wants to compete for resources. So we should strike at what he cares about the most. isn't his biggest help at the moment that guest official Luo He. There are no laws against disciplining a guest official, and not even death would be investigated. In the flame-wind ancient country, there were many guest officials, and strife among them was common. The ancient country couldn't possibly manage it all. Right, the most powerful person beside him is that Luo He, nodded Marquis Chu Yuan, but Luo He is at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm level, certainly practicing several life-saving secret techniques, making it too difficult to kill him outright. He wasn't confident either. While we may not be able to kill him outright, as long as we destroy him once and take away the treasures he carries, it will certainly be a huge blow to him, the man in blue robes said. A strong person like him would carry the treasures he has accumulated over the long years with him. Die once, lose all his treasures, and even if he could survive by using life-saving techniques, the pain would be immense, said an old woman at his side. With our means, we might not be able to kill him outright, but taking his treasures will not be difficult, said an old man whose left arm was encircled by golden rings leisurely. Good. Marquis Chu Yuan nodded, he's hiding himself, so we'll act against his guest official. Let's see if this guest official Luo He will dare to continue helping Emperor Chu Yu. Luo Feng did indeed entrust Morosa, Moyu Qingyang, and the primordial ancestor, so even if they went out, they were just divine power incarnations taking a stroll. In Chu capital, 1,000-star tower. I was once suppressed by the primordial cosmos for most of a reincarnation era, intently perceiving the myriad states of beings and the movement of all things. The primordial ancestor sat in a small building within the 1,000-star tower, drinking as he observed the lives of the beings outside, yet the myriad states and rules of movement of the beings in the land of origin are much more mysterious. After obtaining a wealth of inheritance from the Heart Shadow sect, the primordial ancestor started integrating many experiences of his predecessors, and began to create a Dharma at the eternal level for the virtual universe. As the Dharma started to take shape, the primordial ancestor's strength improved significantly. Sometimes, what's real is also an illusion, and an illusion can also be reality, the primordial ancestor smiled. With my Dharma in its initial success, I can form an illusionary avatar, which possesses a third of my true body's strength, the primordial ancestor said contentedly. I hear that even among beings of primal chaos realm, there are few who have the method of creating an avatar. Suddenly, a ripple descended. The primordial ancestor saw a figure in a blue robe standing to the side, its intangible might already completely binding the primordial ancestor. At this moment, the primordial ancestor felt as though the blue-robed figure was like an endless heaven and earth, leaving no room for resistance, with the gap between them being unimaginably huge. Are you the primordial? The blue-robed figure looked at him. Indeed, this was an eternal true God-level physical body, not some divine power incarnation. May I know what the great saint desires? The primordial ancestor rose to pay respects. I hear that the guest official Luo He went to great lengths for you, bringing you to Chu capital, said the blue-robed figure leisurely. Send a message to Luo He promptly, tell him, if he doesn't come, you're as good as dead. The primordial ancestor was slightly taken aback. Yes, I will send the message immediately. The primordial ancestor still kept a very low profile. Inside Luo Feng's cave dwelling, Luo Feng was summoned from his secluded cultivation. Primordial ancestor, is there an urgent matter? Luo Feng looked at the primordial ancestor. Luo Feng, my illusionary avatar, in the city's 1,000-star tower encountered the guest official Great Saint Qianyu of Marquis Chu Yuan. He wants you to go there immediately, otherwise he will kill me, said the primordial ancestor, but don't worry, he only captured my illusionary avatar. Illusionary avatar? Great Saint Qianyu couldn't recognize it. Luo Feng was surprised. He hadn't even cultivated an avatar himself yet. The inheritances from the Heart Shadow sect didn't have any secret technique for avatars. Could the primordial ancestor possibly have managed to cultivate an illusionary avatar? The illusionary avatar is also a real physical body, just weaker than my main self, the primordial ancestor explained. Luo Feng nodded slightly. If the primordial ancestor was captured, he would have been somewhat troubled. Now? Luo Feng was only filled with burning fury. They had started targeting people close to him. Luo Feng's killing intent grew even more intense. You must be careful. If they ask you to go there, there may be an ambush waiting, the primordial ancestor cautioned. Don't worry. Luo Feng nodded, then stepped forward and disappeared into the void. Thousand Star Tower, merely a somewhat ordinary merchant in Chu capital, yet today marked its most special day ever. 2 first-rank marquises and 3 guest officials of Primal Chaos Realm were inside Thousand Star Tower. The fate of great Saint Luo He is blurred, and causality is converged. It is very hard to discover much about him, said the old woman next to Marquis Chu Ji. His rise was abrupt, and even close friends are exceedingly rare. He might be the reincarnation of some old fellow. When we make our move later, we must give it our all. Against any pinnacle of Primal Chaos Realm cultivator, we cannot afford the slightest carelessness, said the old man with rings of gold on his left arm. The man in blue robes sneered, the pinnacle of Primal Chaos Realm, already touching the threshold of Godly King. However, this Luo He specializes solely in the cultivation of the physical body, and his moves are rather clumsy, which actually makes him easier to deal with. Like the origin Tao of time, origin Tao of space, origin Tao of causality, and so on. Many Taos, if reached the pinnacle of Primal Chaos Realm, are very unpredictable, and capturing or killing them is very difficult. Like Luo Feng defeating Marquis Liu Yin before, but he couldn't retain him. And those who specialize solely in the physical body, while indeed tough to annihilate, usually have other aspects that are weaker. No matter what the opponent is like, we must go all out, Marquis Chu Ji stated. The stronger the physical body, the better, for I can enjoy the battle more, snarled the black-haired, ugly Marquis Chu Yuan. Soon, I'll smash him with thousands of clubs, turn him into a pile of mush. Let's see how strong his physical body is. The other 4 pinnacles of Primal Chaos Realm were already used to Marquis Chu Yuan's temperament. In the imperial clan of Flame Wind Ancient Country, such rampant madness was rare. Yet in Thunder Ancient Country's imperial clan, most of the powerful members were like this, with only a few being calm and rational. Here, the old woman spoke, gazing off into the distance with a somewhat anxious heart. Being a student of the origin Tao of causality, she always felt that Luo He's fate was too hazy, she could see too little. Wu. A man in black emerged from the void, his forehead adorned with a cluster of dark golden spikes, his face bearing a hint of chill. As soon as he stepped out, he looked toward Thousand Star Tower, immediately focusing on those 2 first-rank marquises, and 3 guest officials. Marquis Chu Yuan, Marquis Chu Ji, and the 3 guest officials, Luo Feng observed them. You all have statuses, yet you dared to make a move against the eternal true God by my side. Guest official Luo, he has been staying inside his cave mansion, without going out. We merely used a small trick to kindly invite guest official Luo He to meet, Marquis Chu Ji said smilingly, his voice hearty. Surely, guest official Luo He is also aware of some conflicts we have with Emperor Chu Yu. Since coming to Chu capital, I have been in closed-door cultivation, and am not very clear about the details of the conflicts among the first-rank marquises, Luo Feng spoke. Marquis Chu Ji and the others were somewhat surprised. As a guest elder invited by Emperor Chu Yu, he does not know about Emperor Chu Yu's conflicts with them. Well, it doesn't matter if you don't know, Marquis Chu Ji continued, we give you 2 options. 1. Distance yourself from Emperor Chu Yu and no longer assist him. 2. Continue to help Emperor Chu Yu and be our enemy. 2 paths, you choose one. Choosing a guest elder needs to be done carefully. Emperor Chu Yu was initially worried about encountering an ingrate and preferred to select someone trustworthy and with great potential for gradual cultivation. The first time Emperor Chu Yu invited Luo Feng, he thought Luo Feng was an eternal true god of unlimited godly bodies and hoped to support each other for mutual growth. Emperor Chu Yu was prepared for an early period of restraint. Only later, Luo Feng's strength was unexpectedly strong. Choose between two paths. Luo Feng looked at them with a smile that was not quite a smile. You think you are fit to make me choose? Marquis Chu Yuan, Marquis Chu Ji, and the three guest officials suddenly changed color. We fit to. Marquis Chu Ji's eyes flashed with anger, and the inherently hot-tempered Marquis Chu Yuan's body surged with thunder. HMPH. The blue-robed man coldly huffed. An illusionary avatar of the primordial ancestor, who had been bound and unable to move aside, instantly vanished, and the sky around Thousand Star Tower grew dark. The old woman glanced at Luo Feng. A silent spiritual attack enveloped Luo Feng, obscuring his mind, blurring his perceptions. But Luo Feng, who had reached the second realm of Godly King in terms of spiritual will and possessed the Lai Yuan technique, was not bothered by this confusion at all. Causality obscuring. Luo Feng detected the opponent's move. The opponent's spiritual will level was just entering the threshold of Godly King, but this spiritual attack aimed to blur all his perceptions. This must be Zun guest official by Marquis Chu Ji's side, adept at the law of causality, and the origin Tao of causality, is indeed mysterious and unpredictable. The old man with rings of gold on his left arm stared at Luo Feng, the circles of gold on his left arm vanishing into thin air. 5 illusionary rings of gold appeared out of nowhere, encircling Luo Feng, and instantly tightening, the 5 rings binding Luo Feng's body, containing powers of seal, bind, strangle, and suppress. Luo, he didn't avoid my golden bands, the old man sneered upon seeing this. His true body is definitely doomed. Seeing the 5 golden bands trap Luo Feng, the blue-robed man revealed a smile, and the entire area faintly manifested a grand array. As the array operated, countless chains of heaven and earth enveloped Luo Feng. Marquis Chu Ji showed a slight smile, victorious. The moment Luo he was trapped by the golden bands, the outcome was already determined. Is this your capability? Luo Feng's voice suddenly rang out, his body slightly exerting force. All the basic components of his 5 types of transformation methods had already transformed into yin-yang particle form, his power tremendously increasing. Luo Feng's 5 transformation methods, 4 of which are for close combat. Using the Galaxy transformation method, Luo Feng could now simultaneously execute 23,000 blade lights during the use of the blade technique of Primal Chaos Realm. In close combat, which merely bursts forth immense power and puts little strain on the spiritual will, Luo Feng was able to unleash over 10 billion units of power through the transformation method, reaching an unimaginably powerful level. Boom, 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 boom. With a single exertion, all 5 golden hoops shattered. Every heavenly chain that touched the surface of Luo Feng's clothing naturally disintegrated upon contact. This scene shocked both the first-class Marquis and the 3 guest officials of the Primal Chaos Realm. My 5 golden hoops shattered. The elderly man couldn't believe what he saw. These are weapon secret treasures, and they are broken. He could accept the golden hoops being stretched out, but shattering instantaneously. When the chains formed by the heaven and earth array touched Luo Feng's clothing, they disintegrated naturally. He could distinctly sense the incredible power that was encountered at the moment his controlled chains touched Luo Feng's clothing. Upon contact, they were annihilated. Escape quickly. He is not just at the pinnacle of the Primal Chaos Realm, he has transcended it. The man in the green robe transmitted a message while trying to flee simultaneously. Rumble tilde 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 tilde. Centered around the 1,000-star tower, endless silver light emerged, enveloping and forming a colossal silver cage that now completely enclosed the entire 1,000-star tower. Thinking of leaving, Luo Feng took a step forward, his figure traversing through the void, already appearing beside the man in the green robe. His 5 fingers grasped the man's body, and instantly the area surrounding them within several meters turned into chaos. All layers of space disintegrated, and a terrifying force assaulted the walls of the world. Under this strike, the body of the great saint of heaven was utterly wiped out, without even a shred of capability to struggle. First, the 5 golden hoops were crushed, and the heavenly chains disintegrated, followed by the inability of the great saint of heaven to withstand even one strike. This heavily shocked Marquis Chuji and the others. Although the divine body of the great saint was not exceptionally powerful, as a cultivator of the origin Tao of the world, his strength was considered comparable to that of Marquis Liu Yin, and his life-preserving capabilities were strong. Yet, he was extremely vulnerable in front of Luo Feng. Boom. Boom. Sir, the novel.ia.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Luo Feng's arms suddenly swelled enormously, resembling pillars of the heavens. His hands simultaneously reached out toward the elderly man and the woman. Luo Feng naturally had detailed intelligence on both the first-class Marquis and the 3 guest officials of the primal chaos realm. In fact, the 3 guest officials had the strongest ability to escape. Thus, Luo Feng dealt with the great saint of heaven, who controlled the heavens and earth first, then the other 2 guest officials. As for Marquis Chuji and Marquis Chu Yuan, while strong, they were weaker in terms of escape. Buzz. The palm of Luo Feng's hands, traversing through the void, appeared out of nowhere close to the 2 guest officials of the primal chaos realm. Marquis, let's go. The old woman grabbed Marquis Chuji, and in an instant, she disappeared without a trace. The body of the elderly man dispersed, avoiding Luo Feng's grasp. When his body reappeared from afar, he angrily looked towards the silver cage. This cage has cut off the void, separating the inside from the outside world. Luo Feng's silver light cage had cut through every layer of space, preserving only the walls of the world. Phew. The woman, having escaped with Marquis Chuji to a distant point above the Marquis mansion, finally looked back with assurance towards the direction of the 1,000-star tower. Marquis, I can only barely take 1 life from the primal chaos realm, with me using the causality escape technique, the woman said. I could only bring the Marquis out. The causality escape technique, where one merges with the threads of causality to flee, is a powerful escape method that the woman developed from her study of the origin Tao of causality, based on the heritage she got from the flame-wind ancient country. This method of escape, carrying a life form along, significantly increases in difficulty. I owe it to Guest Elder Zun. Without Guest Elder Zun, I could not have escaped. Marquis Chuji anxiously looked towards the distance. His gaze penetrated the spatial barriers to view the silver cage. That cage can isolate the inside from the outside, making escape very difficult. Guest Elder Zun, is there a way to save Marquis Chu Yuan and the others? Marquis Chuji asked. There's no way. The woman shook her head. Not only are Luo his moves extremely fast, but he can also traverse through the void even under the control of the great saint of heaven. If I were to use the causality escape technique to sneak in, the moment I materialize, I would probably be hit. My godly body is not even as strong as that of Brother Luo He. Once hit, this true body would surely die. He must be a transcendence of the primal chaos realm, who specializes in physical strength, capable of competing with godly kings with his physical body alone. He's not someone we can contend with, the woman added, somewhat frightened. Marquis Chuji grimaced. I didn't expect that this time, only the 2 of us would escape. As a first-class Marquis, Emperor Chu Yu received the news about the battle at the Thousand Star Tower immediately, being very well informed within the Chu capital. What, Marquis Chu Yuan and Marquis Chu Ji, 5 of them against brother Luo He. Emperor Chu Yu became anxious. Didn't I warn brother Luo He to be careful? How could he still have been ambushed? This video will end here.